Somewhere right now, there's a guy on Instagram standing in front of a rented Lamborghini telling you that he made $47,000 last month while he was sleeping. And the crazy part? He's not entirely lying, but here's what he's not telling you, the part that happens before the sleeping. The part that looks nothing like a highlight reel. The part that most people never see because it doesn't get likes. Because here's the truth about passive income that nobody in the finance space wants to say out loud. There is no such thing as money that requires absolutely zero effort. But there is such a thing as money that requires effort once, and then pays you over and over again for years. And understanding the difference between those two things, that's the gap between people who actually build passive income streams and people who spend their whole lives chasing the idea of one. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain completely. No hype, no Lamborghinis, just the honest, psychological, and surprisingly fascinating truth about what making money while you sleep actually looks like in real life. Let me tell you about two people. Ryan is 26, smart guy, works a decent job, makes okay money, but he's exhausted by the idea that every single dollar he earns requires him to physically show up somewhere and trade his time for it. He's heard about passive income. He's genuinely excited about the idea of waking up to notifications that say money has arrived in his account, so he tries things. He signs up for a dropshipping course. He buys a template to start a print-on-demand store. He dabbles in affiliate marketing for 3 weeks. Each time, he puts in a few days of effort, sees no immediate results, and quietly moves on to the next thing. 2 years later, Ryan has spent more money chasing passive income than he's ever made from it. Then there's Claire. Same age, similar starting point. But Claire approaches it differently. She picks one thing, just one, and she treats it less like a lottery ticket and more like planting a tree. She puts in real, unsexy, consistent work for about 8 months before she sees meaningful results. By month 14, she's making enough from that one stream to cover her phone bill and groceries. By year 3, she has 3 streams. And now she's waking up to notifications. So what did Claire understand that Ryan didn't? And why do so many smart, motivated people fall into Ryan's pattern? The answer lives almost entirely in psychology. Let's start with what passive income actually is. Stripped of all the marketing noise, at its core, passive income is simply this. You do work once, and that work keeps producing value after you've stopped. A book author writes for 2 years, and the book sells for 20. A landlord buys a property, fixes it up, and then collects rent every month. A YouTuber spends 40 hours making a video. That video gets watched and monetized for the next 5 years. Notice what all of those have in common. A large, upfront investment of either time, money, or both. The passive part only comes after that investment matures. This is where most people's mental model completely breaks down. We're psychologically wired for something called immediate reward. Our brains evolved in a world where waiting was dangerous. If you found food, you ate it now. You didn't save it for later. That instinct kept our ancestors alive. But in the modern financial world, it's one of the most expensive instincts you can have. Passive income is fundamentally a delayed reward game. You sacrifice now so that the future version of you gets paid. And our brains are genuinely biologically bad at valuing future rewards as highly as present ones. There's actually a name for this in behavioral economics. It's called hyperbolic discounting. Basically, humans tend to massively overvalue what they can get right now compared to what they could get later, even if the later reward is objectively much bigger. Here's a simple illustration. If I offer you $100 today or $150 in 6 months, most people take the $100 now. But if I ask you whether you'd prefer $100 in 12 months or $150 in 18 months for the exact same gap, most people happily choose the 150. The waiting feels less painful when it's in the abstract future. That psychological quirk explains almost everything about why passive income feels so hard to build. The reward is always somewhere in the future, and your brain keeps screaming at you to do something with faster feedback. Ryan wasn't lazy. His brain was just doing exactly what brains do. Now let's talk about the different types of passive income, because not all of them are created equal. And understanding which ones are actually accessible to a regular person changes the whole conversation. Think of passive income on a spectrum. On one end, you have capital-based passive income. This means your money works for you. Dividends from stocks, interest from bonds, rental income from property. This is the oldest and most proven form of passive income in the world. The catch? You need capital, meaning savings and investments, to access it. You can't earn dividends if you haven't bought shares. You can't collect rent if you haven't bought property. This is why we talked about saving your first $10,000 in our last video. Because capital-based passive income requires capital. It's not available to you at zero, but it becomes progressively more powerful as your savings and investments grow. At the other end of the spectrum, you have effort-based passive income. This is where most young people without large savings can actually start. You create something, a video, a digital product, a piece of content, a system, and that thing keeps generating value without you being physically present. The beautiful thing about effort-based passive income is that the barrier to entry is low. You don't need $50,000 to start a YouTube channel or write an ebook. You need time, consistency, and the patience to play a long game. But here's the insight that almost nobody talks about. The most powerful passive income streams are the ones that combine both. You start with effort-based income. You build something with your time because you don't yet have capital. Then you take the money that effort-based income generates and you put it into capital-based assets. Index funds, real estate, dividend stocks. Over time, your money starts working alongside your content, your systems, your digital products. And that's when the compounding really starts. There's a concept called the flywheel effect. Imagine pushing a massive, heavy wheel. The first few pushes are brutal. The wheel barely moves. Everything in you wants to stop because the effort feels completely disproportionate to the result. But you keep pushing. And slowly, almost invisibly at first, the wheel starts to move. And then a little faster, and then faster still. Until eventually the wheel is spinning with its own momentum and you're barely pushing at all. That is exactly what building passive income feels like. Brutal at the start, almost invisible for longer than feels fair. And then, if you don't quit, genuinely astonishing. The people who succeed at this aren't smarter than you. They're not more talented. They just push the wheel long enough to feel the momentum kick in. And once you feel that momentum, once that first $50 shows up in your account from something you made 6 months ago, something changes in you. The same identity shift we talked about with saving $10,000 happens again. You stop seeing passive income as a fantasy and start seeing it as a process you're already inside. So here's what this actually looks like in practice. Step 1. Be brutally honest about which category you're starting from. Do you have capital to deploy? Even $5,000 or $10,000 invested in a low-cost index fund is a small but real passive income stream. It won't change your life immediately, but it's the seed. If you don't have capital yet, your first job is building it, which brings you back to saving consistently. Step 2. If you're starting effort-based, pick exactly one thing and give it a genuine, committed 12 months. Not 3 weeks, not 2 months. 12 months of consistent effort. The reason most people fail at this isn't lack of talent. It's that they quit at month 2, right before the wheel starts to turn. Step 3. Reinvest early income. When your effort-based stream starts producing, even small amounts, don't immediately spend it. Reinvest it. Put it into the capital side of the equation. This is how you build both streams simultaneously over time. And step 4, the most underrated one, track the hours you put in versus the income that comes back. In the early days, your hourly rate from passive income will look humiliating. Maybe you spent 200 hours building something that made $80. That feels terrible. But those 200 hours also built an asset that will keep paying you. Unlike a job where 200 hours of work produces 200 hours of income and then stops. The math looks bad at the start and increasingly incredible over time. Here's the truth about making money while you sleep. It's real. It genuinely exists. People are doing it right now. Not just the Lamborghini guys, but quiet, ordinary people who picked something, stayed consistent, and let time do what time does. But it is not passive at the beginning. It is deeply, sometimes frustratingly active at the beginning. The passive part is the reward for surviving the active part. The guy on Instagram didn't lie to you. He really is making money while he sleeps. He just didn't show you the 2 years of evenings and weekends and failed attempts and almost quitting moments that happened first. Because that part doesn't go viral. Ryan is still looking for the shortcut. Claire is 3 years into pushing her flywheel, and she can feel it spinning. The question isn't whether passive income is real. The question is whether you're willing to do the active work first, before the results show up, before the notifications start. Now, before anyone on the outside can see what you're building, because that's where it actually starts, not while you're sleeping, while you're working, when nobody's watching, on something that might not pay off for a year. That's the truth they don't put on the thumbnail.